Welcome back to Off-Grid News, the news that's not fit to print. Oakland prosecutors leave the door open to charging some school officials in that school shooting there in Michigan. I did a community tab poll on my other channel, but that's before I had a community tab on this channel, and a lot of my viewers there really believed that the school held some culpability to the shooting. They knew that there was a problem with the child. Of course, they informed the parents, but then they let the child go back to class. So the prosecutor is going to hire, I guess, a private inspector to look into it and see if there's any charges that could be filed against the school. DEF shortages in Australia. What is a DEF? DEF is a diesel fuel exhaust fluid. And the reason there's a shortage is because China is limiting the use of fertilizers such as urea, UREA, which is a feedstock for DEF, diesel exhaust fluid. It's used to break down nitrogen oxide in diesel exhaust. Many countries require that this runs in the vehicles. They started standardizing this in 2010, so most, I guess all engines, diesel engines that have that were produced after 2010 have to use it. Now, it's my understanding that the truck doesn't just shut down with it, but it will slow down. So this could cause supply issues. Now, it is causing supply issues in Australia. Some speculators say that this could also affect the United States. This will also cause more shortages. So we have a shortage in this DEF, and if the trucks aren't running, we're not going to get our supplies. Big story of the month, I think, is war with Russia inevitable? So I've done a couple reports on what Russia's been doing, and I've been learning quite a bit. Of course, I live off grid, so news is hard to come by. I've been really trying to dig into this. So I've reported that Russia created a new weapon that will destroy GPS satellites. And so they tested one a while back, knocked down some debris. It causes 1,500 pieces of debris to hurl through space towards the International Space Station, so much so that the International Space Station had to take countermeasures, I don't know what it was, to avoid these pieces. They've also sent out their entire submarines fleet on active duty patrols. Alert patrols is what they're calling it. So I've reported on that in the past, but I really wasn't sure what was going on. So now, of course, we got more information. What it is Russia doesn't want Ukraine to join NATO. NATO is one of those old Cold Wars, United Nations type of things. I'm not going to get in a lot of detail about it because I'm not here to educate you on that. If you want to know more, there's tons of people talking about it. So Russia doesn't want NATO in Ukraine. So Russia is taking position near the Ukraine border. Well, the United States wants to defend Ukraine. So the White House, Biden, has had a meeting, a Skype meeting or some sort, with Putin. And Biden has basically said, don't go in Ukraine. Now, the thing is they're talking sanctions. Now, I know that they're not going to sanction the pipeline. And the reason they're not going to sanction the pipeline is because Germany, I guess as part of NATO, isn't going to allow the pipeline to be shut down because that's their only source of natural gas. They need heat. I think some of the threats that were made may be futile because there's really nothing backbone to anything that we threatened. Now, we did say, Biden said that he would send weapons into Ukraine so they can defend themselves better. Now, what bothers me isn't so much what I've learned about Biden, but the Mississippi Senator, what's his name, Roger Wilker, he's wanting military troops to go into Ukraine and start a conflict, maybe even to Russia is my understanding. And he's even suggesting that this may end up into a nuclear conflict, meaning nuclear war. Now, to make this even a more complicated issue, China has been partnering up a little bit with Russia. It looks like they're doing military exercises together, training together. So that would mean two major powers that we would be going up against. I guess Europe would support us, but do we have the defense to take on two countries, two superpowers? Well, I don't even know if they're superpowers, but two massive military countries. That being said, China warns the U.S. will pay for Olympic diplomatic boycott. So what's happening is during the Olympics, it's going to be held in China, and Biden has said he's not going to send any government officials over to China. That's what's called a diplomatic boycott. The reason is because of the atrocities that China is being accused of genocide on minorities. China's denying the allegations of holding groups in internment camps, forced labor, re-education camps, sterilization, and torture is what they're being accused of. Now this is interesting. CNN's reporting, it's from CNN, I was surprised. It's one of the reporters from CNN is saying that the White House is holding secret meetings with the media to spin the national economic woes into a positive favor. Now, as a lot of people are noticing, there has been a 6% inflation that really is hurting people. But the media has been trying to spin it that it's not that it's hurting people, it's that the American people have more money to spend, so they're spending more money, causing inflation. That's, supply and demand. There's just not enough. So that was one of the topics that they were trying to spin to make the American people think the economy is doing well. Of course, we still have several other issues raising in fuel prices. They've been coming down recently. Alec Baldwin and his wife deletes their Twitter account the day after he was named in Jeffrey Epstein's, the dead guy that was charged with sexual abuse with children, the Little Black Book. So Alec Baldwin was in the Little Black Book that was exposed during the Maxwell trial, Epstein's girlfriend. Many are contributing the removal of the account from the tragic shooting there on the movie set of his movie Rust. Council Bluff, Iowa teacher, what is going on with the teachers here recently, has been arrested for 3 counts of threats of terrorism. She was accused of hiding notes in classrooms, or distributing notes, secretly distributing notes, putting them in desks, I guess, of glorifying violence, making it look like one of the students was wanting to cause gun violence. She turned herself in. Republican Representative Devin Nunes is retiring from Congress to run former President Trump's new social media company. As you may have heard, Trump is wanting to start a social media company similar to Facebook. Nunes is going to be the CEO of this organization. New York Mayor Blasio is requiring children 5 to 11 to have vaccine passports to eat inside restaurants or visit fitness and entertainment establishments. He's also requiring the adults to have a passport for the booster shots. South Africa is requiring companies that mandated the vaccine to their employees. So that means that the company says, okay, you got to have the vaccine. If any of the employees suffer any ill effects from the vaccine, the company is required to compensate them for those ill effects. Things turned ugly in Canada, where an organizer started to offer rides on social media to teenagers whose parents were against the vaccine. The organizers told the teen to lie to their parents and said that they were going to a movie with this woman. Saskatchewan health authorities say children under age 13 and older can be vaccinated without the parents' permission. So she wasn't doing anything illegal, but the parents were quite upset that they were being encouraged by this woman. New Brunswick in Canada is allowing grocery stores to ban unvaccinated people from buying foods as part of the province's winter action plan. JP Morgan says labor shortages could last for years because, one, more people are retiring. So we know the baby boomers are retiring. So since that is the largest population of people, they're retiring. There's nobody to replace them. Pandemic era policies. Some examples would be like people can't find childcare. So they're choosing not to go back to work since they can't find childcare. Number 3 is because people are buying more stuff. So as they're buying more stuff, there's less supply. It means the company needs to produce more, so they have to hire more employees, causing more of a labor shortage. FBI reports that Cuba's ransomware group has hit a critical infrastructure, 42 critical infrastructure companies, organizations. The ransomware group made $49 million. No word on what's being done about it. So that's the news that's not fit to print. Talk to you next time. Thanks for watching.